Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Now, there are elections happening in different states of the Federation, and those are local government elections. But at the center, there are also plans in reviewing what has happened, especially in Edo State, ahead of the Ondo governorship election started for the 16th of November 2024. But in all of this, elections are at the heart or the center of choosing leadership for our country, for the Nigerian people. If those choices are bad, or the process leading to choosing the leadership for this country are flawed, then there is a major problem, because it then means that if there is a flawed process, there won't be the kind of choice that the people desire. But have we seen elections that are lived up to the expectations of the Nigerian people? What is the political class doing? What is IPAC doing? What are you saying as an average citizen of Nigeria? Let's talk about this, everyone. I'm being joined tonight to discuss this. The national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Alhaji Yusuf Dantale. He joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much, and it's a pleasure joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Sure.
It's a whole lot to talk about. I know there are a lot of people who are talking about electoral reforms. We saw election happen in Edo State, and I know that IPAC met with political party leaders. You spoke, and part of what you mentioned are the things that need to be things that are needed to be fixed before the Ondo governorship election. But how can we fix the coming election when we have not fixed the challenges or the problems of the past election? As the chair of IPAC, what in your view are those ills, the evils that bedeviled the Edo governorship election?
Thank you. Good evening once again, Sean. I want us to address or to approach this looking at the remote cause of these problems and the immediate cause of the problems. The fundamental thing about this problem is that why do people seek political office in Nigeria? So that is the major problem we have. It is a very painful truth, but politics today is more of business transaction than going to serve the people. And that is the real problem. The political office holding in Nigeria today has been transformed. It's been so lucrative that when people are voted to office, yes, you spend so much money getting there because it's a Nigerian problem too. And then the next thing you want to do is to recoup what you spend, okay, in the course of an election. And then what you think is the next election. And on the part of the populace, when you come back home as a political office holder, you are expected to have stolen so much money that will use it to change the lives of your friends and the immediate family, but not the people. So because of this problem that is not being addressed, you see politicians deploy every arsenal available to them, whether it is legitimate or it means circumventing the laws to get to the offices. So until we address the lucrativity of our political office holding in Nigeria, whatever we do will still be illusionary, because we cannot continue to change electoral laws after every general election. It is, to me, it is an aberration, and we must look at this, but we have to be sincere with ourselves as Nigerians.
So let's break it down.
Yes.
You are saying, and it's interesting that it's coming from a politician, yes, and you are supposed to be the leader of the Nigerian political class as it stands today, because IPAC is the committee of all political parties. Now, you're saying invariably that the Nigerian governance or government appointments or elective offices are too juicy.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So it's too attractive.
It's too attractive economically.
How do we then break it down such that that attraction is reduced and people go for service other than enriching themselves?
You are aware recently that there was an argument about what the take-home pay of a senator, of a state senator, is in Nigeria, that of the executive. Some persons say, okay, the Fiscal and Revenue Mobilization Office will say, okay, it's about 1 point something million. But a sitting senator said, no, I go home with 20-something million every month. So up till today, no one have come up to say this is exactly what the take-home pay of a senator is. For every election, there is always funds for prosecuting every election in Nigeria. But there is no election to solve fundamental. Look at what happened in Borno, for instance. There was no money was meant for the correction of a dam. Some persons in charge of these things went away, wrote a fictitious report that nothing will happen, and people died, properties lost. Up till now, they are still trying to fix the problems. Nothing has done, nobody has been punished, nothing has happened. And this thing will continue. So until, and then the governor of a state, have the State Independent Electoral Commission, for instance, in his pocket. You see the quality of elections that have been conducted across a state in the name of State Independent Electoral Commission. Some that you don't see ballot boxes. It does not meet minimum standard of election. Why should it be? Why must people be forced to accept their leaders? And the worst of it is that this is supposed to be the government that is closest to the people, where development is supposed to be attracted.
I mean, you mentioned something about the dam, and there are the fact that a lot of the times when things are done badly, or people do wrong things in government and there are no consequence, it actually aches the mind. Just yesterday, China was said to have jailed about 15 persons over building collapse that killed dozens of people. That is its consequence upon actions of people. And you see, the dam that you mentioned, for example, I'm not sure anything will be done to anyone who is found guilty.
No one is even talking about it. Nobody is talking about it. No name is mentioned. The only thing we are looking for is support from Nigerians or wherever. Those who die have died. Those who lost their properties have lost their properties.
Because tomorrow, some other people can repeat and endanger the lives of other people.
Of course.
No consequences.
No consequences.
So we are a nation that gives no consequence to bad behaviors.
You are aware recently that IPAC held its first roundtable on the role of judiciary in building democracy. And judiciary have a very strategic role to play. As it is only the judge or judicial officers that are referred to as my lord. So what it means is that this institution is supposed to be as sanitized as possible. But here we are today in Nigeria. You see courts of coordinate jurisdiction issuing court orders on same matter and counter court orders. It is embarrassing. The China you talked about, I was in China recently, and we went for a program, an academic program, and one of the lecturers said that why we are able to do what we have today, he gave us an example, that a judge in China delivered judgment without justice because it was expected that the judgment was influencer with money. And what happened? He was investigated, found guilty, prosecuted, he was executed. He was skinned, and the skin of that same judge was dried. His son was made to succeed his father, and the son was made to sit on the skin of his father for him to be conscious. So where you have offenses committed without punishment, you don't expect the situation to change.
When you were saying that we should cut down on the juiciness, on how attractive political offices are you implying for some reasons that the bicameral legislature is no longer working or too expensive for Nigeria? Because some people have argued in that direction. Are you saying that we do not need the number of lawmakers that we currently have? Or are you implying that maybe we should have part-time legislature, just like some people have argued? Or in what sense are you exactly pointing at? What must we do to prune down what you have described as the sweetness, the juiciness, and the attractive nature of public offices in Nigeria?
Today, the moment you are elected into public office, banks, from State House of Assembly to House of Reps to senatorial offices, banks will approach you, offering you loans that you not in lieu, because it's expected that nothing will happen to the money. But a farmer like me, who is supposed to contribute to domestic food production, and by extension, the forex to the country, a farmer in the village will be asked to bring collateral in Abuja or in Lagos. So that is the indication that these offices are financially lucrative, and that is why people dispense everything they can to get there. So the first thing to do as Nigerians is to be sincere. The country is going down. We can all see it.
Are you worried about the way?
I am. I'm a Nigerian. This is not the Nigeria I was born into. But though it didn't start today, but it is a cumulative.
You are worried that we are maybe on the right or wrong path. What I thought about the trajectory we're going.
Today, you have workers. I don't know if in channels here, who now sleep in their offices because of transportation. We are aware that some persons, maybe in the past administration, mortgage the crude oil. A foreign company. You collected money for what you have not produced, what you are yet to produce. Now, the farmers cannot go to the farm because of insecurity. Additionally, now there is cost of energy. It is difficult. You can't drive industries today. Most of the local industries are going down. And luckily, we have a Dangote who came to invest sums of money to do something revolutionary. Then some persons in public service came, and then a lot of English, this person with his accusations upon and counter accusation. So the whole thing is not clear to the average Nigerian. Why are Nigerians paying for this? There's a lot of things must have gone wrong. But we owe ourselves the responsibility of correcting this thing for the sake of an average Nigerian. So Nigerians.
The question I asked about the nature of the Nigerian parliament or the legislature that we run, what kind of shape and number do you think that we should?
I won't say we have to sit down and look at it sincerely. First, why is the sum of money going for payment of salaries and allowances of public office, not just legislators, the executive too? Why do we have to expend this kind of money for people who want to serve? And another major problem is the laws. Now, the minimum requirement for someone who is supposed to contest for the office of a president in Nigeria, the office of a governor, the legislative house, is secondary school leaving certificate. And here you have issues that need professionals, that need academicians, you need people who are grounded in this field,
who are academically and mentally
sound, capable to champion these responsibilities. But anachronistically, you have a school living, an SSC holder formulating laws and policies for a professor.
Maybe that's the reason why we have the kind of
we have. So we need to look at these things
to raise the minimum standard. Even in the private sector,
yes,
there are minimum standard. Yes. No one will take a secondary school certificate holder. Will not. I mean, in some organizations they don't employ them. But then it's fit to become Nigeria's president.
So it is embarrassing. So we need to be sincere with some of these things, to look at and review them. Let's have Nigeria.
Let me ask you, what did you find out exactly? I mean, you've been doing some peer review between you and your colleagues in IPAC. How did you assess the Edo governorship election?
Edo governorship election, you see, I started by laying the foundation. When you talk Edo election, INEC tried. But the problem is with the politicians. INEC did what they are supposed to do within the enabling laws. We participated in the election. We saw what happened. It is not as bad as being propagated. But what we cautioned against that yesterday, at least a slow pace of communication of some officials of INEC. At least they should be more transparent in some of the things, like the suspension of collation towards the end of a final collation of the result that attracted some politicians to storm the collation center. Particularly the governor of the state was there, and the other party was there. So the officials of INEC should try as much as possible not to leave anything that will give room for suspicion. But however, the matter is in court, and it won't be fair to begin to talk so much.
So it provides us the avenue to look at what could be done ahead of Ondo governorship election. And I think it's also right, because you mentioned a few things, pointing the attention of INEC to a few things that needs to be done ahead of Ondo governorship election yesterday. Share with us some of those things that you think are critical that needs to be fixed.
Just what we said, yes, we talked about openness and effective communication, okay, from INEC to the people, so that there will be no room for suspicion that maybe INEC is trying to do this in favor of Party A or Party B. I think outside that communication gap, there was no problem visible with all the things that happened, because all the parties tried, everybody did what they wanted to do, or the result came. But we must look at why do we want to spend everything we have to get to the offices? Why must we kill? Why is it that it will always be difficult to have money that will work for the welfare of the people, but there is always money for election? So these are some of the things we need to look at, because if we don't and we continue, God forbid, we need to have a Nigerian before election. It's not going to be about party. It is not going to be about the office. It's about us as Nigerians. Nigerians are going through a lot. So many things happen before now, and up to now, look at what is going on. And look at what is going on in the local government election, because yes, this is supposed to be an independent tier of government. This is a government that is closer to the people. And there was a Supreme Court, thanks to the Attorney General of the Federation, that approached the Supreme Court on financial autonomy. But still, these same persons want to circumvent this thing. You are going as evil as imposing outrageous amount of money as nomination fee for chairmanship, councillorship. You ask people to pay as high as 10,000. Look at Anambra, for instance, that the governor will use the state assembly to bend the rules, the laws, to ensure you get everything you want. So yesterday, there was a debate too about the new bill being sponsored by the governor to have a joint account, though I don't know the details of the bill, but that they are supposed to have some financial collaboration between the state and the local government on certain projects. It's still not clear. Nigeria needs a rebirth, and we have to be sincere. And we're appealing to all Nigerians, all politicians, all the leaders. Recently, when the review of the constitutional amendment was going on with the joint
Committee of the
National Assembly, we try to appeal to them. Today, let's not make laws. And I sincerely appreciate the two chairmen of the committees of both the houses, that we shouldn't be making laws that will only serve a particular purpose. Let the laws we make be laws that will be generational, that we can be proud of. Today you are there, tomorrow you are not there. So now look at what is happening in Rivers, for instance. Yesterday, what Wike could do as a governor, it is difficult for him to do it today as a minister. So if we have laws that will be for all times, for all Nigerians, it will reduce some of the things that Nigerians are going through.
Before we wrap up the conversation, I'd like to get your final thought, and perhaps in the area of how best can we as a people ensure that the voices of the average citizen is heard and louder than these, in the sense that it does look like the average person goes to the vote to the polling unit to vote, but when in turn they're supposed to receive what is called the dividend of democracy, they are not being considered as priority. Citizen engagement, citizens' priority in policy and governance. Why does it look like the average person in government take for granted the Nigerian people? Is it because the vote don't count, or what exactly is it? Perhaps that could be your parting shot for us.
I don't believe that the votes don't count. Today they count. And that if the votes don't count, nobody will buy vote. It is because the votes count, that is why people pay. You understand? Mm-hmm. So you won't buy something that is not important. It is because the votes count that people pay. Politicians pay to buy votes.
But maybe they buy the vote. Those who have more money are the ones buying the votes.
Thank you very much. So that is what. So now both the politicians and the common man, or the average Nigerian, the elected and the electorate, are guilty of this. We must sacrifice as Nigerians. Today, somebody will give you 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 to take your vote. And when the person takes your vote, you already lost the rectitude to demand for accountability, because you are part of that decay. But then, these people, their economic status is very poor, is very bad. We need to do what we can to bridge the gap that the average Nigerian can access at least minimum education. I went to a state in the north recently, and I was driving and I said, God, we have serious problem coming if nothing is done. There's nowhere you park that you don't see children coming from nowhere. Wherever you park, you see them coming. And these are potential bandits. These are potential Boko Haramists. These are potential kidnappers, because there is no care. And then we need to look at the teachings of our religion too. Because religion will not ask you not to care for your family, or to just go ahead and give birth the way you want. We need to look at our social, our culture, and so many things we must sit down as Nigerians to discuss.
Alhaji Yusuf Dantale, the IPAC National Chairman, thanks so much indeed for your time. I appreciate your effort. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
We'll take a break, everyone, but when we come back, our attention will be on the economy. What are we doing wrong, and how can we get it right all together? We'll be right back, everyone. Join us.